Hey, this is Kirk from Go Make Music, and today I want to show you how to use a reference track in your mix session while you're mixing, so you can quickly A/B your decisions that you're making and see if you're in the right ballpark or you're catching the right vibe that you're going for with a track or a production. So what is a reference track? Basically, it's a commercially released, finished, mastered track that you buy and download, and you literally just drag and drop it into your session and then mute it. So this is kind of a folky, up-tempo song, and we're gonna listen to it, and it's loud because it's a finished mastered track. Okay, so then I can just unsolo it and it mutes it back. So the first thing, you pull it in and you mute it, and you make sure it's going out of your stereo out. Mine's going out of the DAW out because that's what I use when I'm doing these videos, but essentially you would be coming out of the stereo out, the main output. Okay, so there's your reference. And then you can listen to your mix. It's like, okay, all right. And then you can go back and forth by just hitting the solo on and off. Okay, so the first thing you might notice when you're doing this kind of A/B thing back and forth is like, wait a minute, this track is way louder than my track, and what do I do? Is this okay? Yes, it's okay, because the thing that you're pulled in as your reference track is a mastered track. So it's going to be way louder, way hotter than your mix right now. So there's a couple things you can do to fix that. One thing would be to literally just turn down your mix, turn down your reference track, okay? So you could just turn it down until it feels like it's the same loudness. Okay, so now I feel like I'm in a similar place. Now this is jumping all over the place, but that's because I haven't done any mix bus compression or mastering on the channel. So this is not going to be as level as this is, okay? We're going to get there. So that's one thing you can do, is you can turn down the reference track and kind of see if you can balance the perceived loudness of both tracks before you start making decisions or critiques on your mix or even the reference track, okay? That's one way to do it. I don't recommend that because this reference is still mastered. So the things that are going on with the top end and the transients, things like drums, it's not gonna be as translatable as you putting a pseudo mastering chain on your mix bus. So what I would rather you do is put a pseudo mastering chain or a straight up mastering chain on your mix bus, okay? Now, here's the thing. You can't put a mastering chain on your mix bus if everything is coming out your stereo output. So you have to route all of your tracks to their own separate buses, and then route all those buses to a mix bus that goes out to the stereo out. In this case, it's going out the DAW output, but it would all end up coming out of the stereo output when you were done. So let me show you how to do that real quick. One way to do it. So I have all my drums, my electric drums and my acoustic drums. They're all going to bus 32. Now, if I look over here, that's the input of bus 32. So it's coming in here, and here's my drum bus, right? Turn that off. There's my drums. Okay, now my drums are going to bus 29, and that's right here, and that's coming into my mix bus. Then I'm doing the same thing with my bass. It's just one channel, but I have it going to a bass bus. Okay, so drums and then bass. And then the bass bus is going to 29, which is right there. This is my mix bus. And then, so drums, bass, and then I have all of my music basically. So pianos, acoustics, electrics, organ, all of that is going to B30. And there's my music bus. So B30 is going to B29, which is my mix bus. And then last but certainly not least is all my vocals are coming to bus 8. Bus 8 is going to bus 29. This is my vocal bus, and that's all ending up here at the end of the line, which is my mix bus. So then on my mix bus, I can do just some slight EQ, a little bit of compression, a little more compression, and then I'm doing like a limiter with the ML4000, but you could just use a stock limiter for now to get you doing this as a practice. And let's listen to where we're at now with our mix.
Your grace that knows no end has made us whole again.
And then listen to the reference.
Safe to shore.
Okay, so now volume-wise, I feel like I'm a lot closer. So that's kind of one of the secrets is if you're going to pull in a mastered reference, you need to set up your routing to where you can have a pseudo or real mastering chain going on your mix bus so you can make the decisions. So either just turn down your reference or you bring up, aka master, your mix. Okay, now I have a whole course on mastering that you can get online, and I'll show you at the end of this video. But to just keep going with what we're doing, now we can A-B this, okay? Okay, so what am I listening for when I'm doing this? Well, personally, I like to listen to different groups of instruments. So I'll listen to the bass by itself to see if it's sitting in a good place. I'll listen to kind of the impact of the kick and maybe the snare. This one doesn't really have much of a snare, so I could listen to the kick and the bass and see how I'm doing, right? So let's do that first. I liked where the bass and the kick were for the most part. Then I could listen to things like the vocals. Are the vocals sitting in a good place? Let's try that. Now, his vocal is a little bit more piercy than the vocal that I'm working on, so I'm not really trying to match it exactly. But is my voice too hot or is it too low? These are some things I can do when I'm doing a reference. And then I can listen to the overall brightness of a mix versus my mix. Do I like it? Do I like how dark mine is, or do I want it to be brighter? I noticed that there's tambourines in this part of the chorus for the reference. Do I want to add tambourines? I don't know. And so it's really about helping you make decisions really quickly, especially in areas like the low end, the kicks, the snares, and the vocals. Everything else is going to be so different anyways because it's different songs, different singers, different instruments. So, but those things, if you know that you love what's going on in the reference mix, then it's a great way to make those decisions. And that's basically it. So you pull in the reference, you set it to stereo output, you make sure all of your other instruments are not going to the stereo output until they go through something that is acting like a mix bus. And then from there, you can put on a pseudo mastering chain, or you can turn down your reference until they're at the same perceived volume. And from there, you can use the solo button to do your ABs. And I'm telling you, you will learn so much by really just going back and forth. Think of it as kind of a painter who would be looking at a finished model or a finished product, and they're trying to look at it and go back to their work and create all the depth of field and the color and the brightness. And as you go through that process, you will develop your taste, you would develop your technique, you would develop your ear. And so it's just a really good practice that I highly recommend to all my students and anybody who's working on their own music or working on other people's music. Cool. All right. If the mastering side of things kind of scares you or freaks you out a little bit, I do have a free course on mastering that you can get at www.gomakemusic.org. Just go to the free resources tab and click on Mastering Explained. And there's a cool checklist there as well. If you have any other questions about mixing or music production, just shoot them in the comments, or you can sign up and send me an email, and keep doing this. So pull in a reference in your mix project, try it out, see how it works. Let me know what you think. And until next time, go make music.